Hi, everyone. Please don't forget to unmute.
All right, Melissa, we're here, we're rolling.
Thank you.
Come on. So we're calling this meeting of the Kingston Common Council Caucus to order here at 7:01 or something on September the 9th, 2024. We have 139, 16 items plus the local law first reading. All right, so we will start with resolution 139, which is authorizing a transfer in the amount of $4,224 in the building department to cover the expense of off-hour staff training and vehicle repairs. This item is actually an internal transfer, so there's no financial impact. Everybody okay with that one?
Yeah. No.
You don't have a vote. 140, this is a transfer in the amount of $450,000 from a fund balance in the police department to purchase replacement police vehicles. So this is police vehicles, though, not patrol cars. These are vehicles they use for things other than going out to carry officers. And it's not covered by the fund balance transfer that was approved at the August council meeting. So this is separate. I just want everybody to understand that this is a new cost. And John Toohey is recommending paying it with fund balance precisely for the reasons that we're actually above our recommended level of fund balance. And if we purchase these vehicles by loan, they would be more expensive, cost the taxpayers more money.
How much are we in the recommended reserve loan?
I don't know the number, but it's above. We've been above. And we're at the very top, and this is actually, we're trying to keep within our limit. You can ask, I don't have it with me, I didn't bring that information. John Toohey told us the last finance committee.
So I know traditionally the detectives have received hand-me-down vehicles.
Yes.
So how much of the fleet is hybrid? And are they not able to be handed down?
The problem is the ones that they've got, I think, are like way beyond their usefulness, and there aren't other ones that are available. Yeah.
So they're not patrol vehicles?
Correct.
Do we have an idea what they are?
I think they were detective vehicles.
Yeah, for the detectives to drive around.
Okay.
So they're still enforcing the law, but it's more for investigations. They're not, doing the speed traps and.
That's fine.
What they were.
Right, that's what I want.
So someone told me that they take, the detectives are able to take the vehicles home because they may have to respond at any time of day or night. So will they have chargers available to them?
That I don't know. We did not discuss that at the meeting, so that'd be something to ask.
Okay, I'll reach out to them.
Yeah, they have to fill, they should be filling out, if they take it home, they should be filling out a form,
Right,
because it's a tax.
right, but
Issue
making,
there.
yeah, that's
Right.
less of an issue other than just that, they're fully charged to respond.
Okay.
Right.
How many vehicles are there? Are they electric or? I don't think
It's
they're.
fully electric.
These are,
How many?
Yeah, no, it's huge.
Oh.
I never seen, I thought it was
I never know. I took notes, but I'm not finding them in the folder I brought.
Nobody knows how many vehicles.
Do you want me to try and call the chief?
we don't have the total, no.
Are there no questions that anybody wants me to try and call the chief?
That would be my question.
Or you want to just reach out?
You want to reach out with all?
Do you want me to, if there
Sure.
are questions right now, do you want me to try and speak to the
Thanks.
chief? Maybe at least already whispering. That they just.
But they go fast.
As long as they're not
That's
testing.
tomorrow.
So in July, Terrell, this is not the most recent one, but it's very similar. So unassigned fund balance. This amount, the amount that we have right now is 22.3% of the 2024 adopted budget. We're supposed to be 121%.
Oh, so it's
Right,
just
great, so,
up by 1
Free, but that's millions of dollars.
thank you.
But what does that translate into, like, dollars?
Well, the unaided, the fund balance right now is $11,600,000. Yeah, 11,650,000.
All right, Chief, welcome to Caucus. This is your common council here.
Great, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're talking about resolution 140. It's the transfer of 450,000 from fund balance for the purchase of replacement police vehicles. I'll turn it to Michelle because she had a couple of questions.
Okay, great.
Hi, Chief, it's Michelle. Just curious if the detectives will have charging infrastructure at home so that they can respond to any, at any time with appropriate charge.
So the plan is to have the chargers at headquarters. They will have the availability of having a charger with them that can be plugged into like a household outlet. But we are not planning on it, and that would really be for like emergency use, kind of like carrying a gas can with you if you need it. But the idea is not to install any type of charging infrastructure at their place now.
Okay, but they'll have the ability to charge.
Right, I mean, there will be, just like now, they fuel up at DPW at the fuel tank, so no charging system will be installed. My idea is similar to what we have with these Blazers, is to have a charger that comes with the unit that will just be in the trunk, and then, like I said, they can always plug in if they get to a location. They're very low level chargers, but it's something, so.
Okay,
But no charging.
okay, I just want to make sure they have the ability to charge, so.
Well, and presumably they would fully charge before they go home. So they've got a fully charged car at their disposal. Is that correct, Chief?
That's correct. They would park at headquarters at the charging locations, and then just, obviously, just like anything else, always check their fuel level or, battery level before they left. Yeah.
And what percentage of non-patrol cars are the new ones that we're buying?
It was kind of hard to hear you, Randy. I'm sorry. What percentage of what?
So what's the number of non-patrol cars the police department has? And how, what's the percentage of the new ones you're asking for, that total?
So it's about half of the unmarked cars. So we're looking for 80 all-electric or EV cars. That would replace about half. We were hoping to try to do this in 2 phases, which, it means that I'm probably going to come back to council at some point to ask to get the other half changed over. But we are looking to do an all EV fleet for many reasons. But I believe that, if we can do it in phases, this approval of the 450 will get us at least half of the unmarked fleet. And then from there, and frankly, because they're assigned vehicles to one particular individual, they will last for dozens of years. Easily 10 years, as the technology changes. So, the mileage is less on these vehicles than patrol use, and they're really not emergency level or first responder vehicles anyway. These are, as I mentioned, we'll be looking at vehicles similar to the 70 Equinoxes. So they're, the regular passenger vehicles, they don't have the capability, nor would we want them to have the capability to do first responder,
Right.
Type of, suspension, and, the patrol cars costing us up to, $70,000 on equipment. These Equinoxes are less than half that, so.
Okay, yeah, 10 years, the technology's not gonna change in 10 years. All right, were there other questions?
Yeah.
Terrell has a question.
Yeah, just, is there any trade-in value on the 8 cars or trucks, whatever they are, that you intend to replace?
No trade-in value. These are vehicles that have already been paid off through bond, and have essentially been deemed high mileage. So there's no trade-in. However, we do consider, like we do with many of the old vehicles that we have, putting them on the auction site. I believe the city uses Auctions International, and then we get, we get what we can for them. Most of them are maintained, but they are going to be high level miles. So, whether they bring in $500 or a few $1,000s, that really depends on the auction.
Thank you.
Yeah, because generally by the time we're getting rid of them, they're pretty ragged out.
Oh, yeah.
Worse than rental cars.
Right, you might send auction to city residents.
I don't think, I don't know what we want.
I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody really wants them. Yeah. No, I mean, they're,
Yeah.
Somebody pick them up.
yeah, well, like he said, they'll put them on auction. Okay, any other questions for the chief then?
How long will it take for them to come in?
Chief, Michelle is asking how long it'll take for the vehicles to come in. Do you have an estimate?
We are currently looking at dealer inventory. There's a couple of things we're working on, the infrastructure, the creation of the infrastructure, and having charging stations. So we're working with Parks and Rec, DPW, engineering office to look at that. And also we're looking at the different, who's got what in stock, ideally anything that's off state bid. It may not be entirely over Chevy Equinox, maybe smash, depending on, price is going to be a factor. And then, from there, we'll see. We currently have Philip Green, Parks and Rec, looking to do the groundwork, and he'll be working with a purchase agent, Brian Wallman, at some point to determine what falls under state bid, OGS, source well.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate you. Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay. So we're all good on that? All right, 141, authorizes the mayor to submit an application to the U.S. Department of Transportation for a Reconnecting Communities pilot grant in the amount of $240,000 for a planning study related to Route 9W in the city of Kingston and to execute any and all related documents. We're not sure how the match will be financed, but if we get the grant, it would require a $60,000 match. So at this point, again, as usual, just to remind folks, we're applying for the grant. We have not received it yet. Any questions, concerns? Okay. Yeah, because this is the way 9W cuts through part of Kingston. It's like where Rondout houses are. It really cuts off part of Kingston from the rest of the city. This is a question of looking to see if there's a way of ameliorating that kind of division there. And we want to beat Poughkeepsie to this. Resolution 142, transfer from fund balance in the amount of $556,032 in the fire department to cover the expense of hiring new firefighters, EMT, and paramedics. This one, 142, is actually no financial impact because we approved the transfer. This is for the increase in pay that is required due to the memorandum of agreement that we passed at the June council meeting of this year. It covers 18 positions, new positions. 12 of them have been hired, but the problem is that the budget modification was not adopted. So in essence, there was a bit of paperwork that we neglected to do. So this item has no cost because it's just catching up with the paperwork. Okay. Any questions about any of that?
Can you explain that on the floor tomorrow?
Sure.
So the public understands it too?
Sure. I'll do it. Resolution 142 is authorizing a transfer from fund balance. Sorry. 143, authorizing a transfer in the amount of $100 to the mayor's department to cover the expense of postage. Okay, I'm going to assume everybody's okay with that.
Yeah.
Resolution 144, adopting a return to check policy for the city of Kingston. So this has no specific amount of money related to it. 144, we're over here. Yeah, so it's not a new fee, it's just memorializing our already existing fee as well as when and where we charge it. So again, this is paperwork. It's not creating something new. We want to make sure that it's clearly reflected in our policy. Okay? 146, resolution of the Common Council designating 243 Albany Avenue as a locally designated landmark. What committee was this one from?
Laws and rules.
145, that's part of the same, it's the same thing.
Establishing.
Sorry. 146, Michelle?
Yeah, so this is designating Temple Emmanuel as a historic property, locally designated landmark.
Yeah, such a beautiful building. Everyone okay with that? You want to take on God?
Yep.
God. Some people do. All right. Resolution 147, designating a portion of Wilbur neighborhood as a locally designated landmark district. Michelle?
Yeah, so I was actually trying to pull the map up so everybody could see it, but what's on here that got submitted is really blurry, but it's basically the triangle, which at the bottom of Wilbur and Beale, like Davis and Dunn, that area. It's a pretty significant portion of Kingston, in Wilbur, that was existed before it was part of Kingston, so, you know, the neighborhood is very much in favor of it. People will be eligible for tax credits. The city is going to be moving to get a grant to then get some state and national historic designations going down there and then in our other areas as well.
And so that includes that, the house where the manager of the.
It's above it, but that is designated, can be designated individually.
Good. Everybody okay with that one? All right, 148 is authorizing transfer of $9,670.05 from fund balance in the city clerk's office to cover the expense of cleaning and closing a storage unit at Always Moving on Grand Street.
Yes.
Everybody clear on this one? Yes, very exciting. More than meets the eye, but yeah, good, okay. 149, recommending approval for amending the rules of the council for 2024.
This is the Zoom.
Oh, yes.
Our new Zoom policy.
So we won't, because you're voting on it tomorrow, it won't go into play until October. And I'll work with Elisa to draft like what we will say when somebody signs up. So what we talked about it laws and rules, so it's on my to-do list. But for tomorrow, we'll follow the same, no Zoom comments. October, we'll bring the new policy. As long as it passes.
Okay, everybody good with that? Resolution 150 is a call to adopt a memorializing resolution calling on federal representatives to sponsor, co-sponsor, and support resolution S.2385, calling for funding for clean and safe drinking water and sanitary sewer systems for federally recognized tribes and their members.
This was also out of laws and rules, but I'll let Jeannie speak to it. She introduced this. Thank you, Jeannie.
Most of the reservations are having problem with water, that they don't have it, and if they do have it, it's tented. So we have people that they're trucking in water, selling bottles of water for $1 to many of the households. So we're just backing up resolution 2385 to Congress to move quicker on this and to put in place clean water for all reservations.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
And then while you were saying that, two angels got their wings.
Sure.
Resolution 151. This is a no parking ordinance, adding 2 no parking here to corner signs at the intersection of Lucas Avenue and Plymouth Avenue. That was out of public safety, but
I introduced that. And this is really just to put up signs because people park right up to the intersection and people coming out of Plymouth can't see. So this will allow, basically, let people know how far away they have to be from the intersection.
Yeah, so it just clarifies the already existing law. It extends it a little bit.
It extends it,
It actually does extend
it
it,
extends it from
Yeah.
15 feet to 20 feet.
because otherwise we wouldn't need it.
Right, but I'm saying extends it a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all the way down the block.
No,
Yeah.
I know we do this occasionally, but that's actually an ordinance saying you're not allowed to park within
15.
15 feet of the intersection.
Yeah,
But this is 20, which is why I needed to go to the council.
Because
Because if it's 15, no, it was fine.
yeah.
Because 15, we wouldn't need to go through this process. Because you could just call DPW and ask
Get
them.
a sign, right?
Yeah,
And John's okay.
Though they probably wouldn't put
Yeah.
up signs because then they'd be putting them all over the
exactly.
city, so they would, yes,
Well, they have, but they put a lot of thought into it.
exactly. So,
All right, resolution 153, authorizing the purchase of the Rondell Savings Bank parking lot located at 22-38 East Chester Street. So the rationale here, two parts to this, which we discussed. Number one, the rationale for the purchase is that it would provide a city-controlled parking lot for people who want to use the rail trail there. The significant point of discussion we had, though, is that the mayor is proposing to use federal ARPA funds. We've still got a little bit of money left that we have to use. And so there was some discussion about whether this was an appropriate use of ARPA funds or not. So, Michael, you want to speak to your objection?
Yeah, I still don't think this is the best use of a once in a generation federal investment in our community to buy a parking lot. But I will be voting in favor of it. I just voted against it in the finance committee because I think it's not the best financial move using this money.
So part of what we talked to you about in further that conversation was the potential and asking the mayor to move to renovate it to some degree, so make it more part of the park, right? And so that it's clear that it's not just the back lot of this place, right? So clarify what its use is for. The other advantage is that when we have winter emergencies, this would be a place where people can get their cars off the streets, as with all of our city-owned parking lots.
Which in that neighborhood, because where I live,
Yeah,
there's not many driveways, so this will be a benefit. But I think it would be, to speak on Michael's point, good for somebody to kind of track this as it goes forward. So Don, if you want to do it, or Michelle's in your ward, or my neighborhood. so
Yeah, I
any of
mean, I
us-
can do that. It's, but also, where are we with the parking study?
We submitted a grant,
Okay,
so we're waiting for that.
okay, because that was.
Yeah. So I think that was a few months ago, but I think the timeline is until like November, December that we would find out if we would get that grant.
Okay.
I'm not completely positive those times, but fairly confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just if you could track, making this as much of a part, maybe, we also talked about like the not educational, but, what's the word I'm looking for?
I can't remember if
Information.
we discussed this, at the meeting. Are we will there be a sign saying no overnight parking except for snow emergencies?
Yeah, because it will become part of Parks and Recreation's property, so it'll be governed by the same rules of no parking, like dusk to dawn.
So I think we did discuss that.
And I think we had a very fruitful, concept conversation about what could be added to that space to make it more like a park, like a public restroom, of which there are none along the rail trail.
Yeah, and that's kind of, Michelle, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
We could track that.
and maybe a
just to-
picnic table or two,
Yeah, or
something,
benches or
benches or
shade
something
or-
for people to sit in.
I'm happy to also monitor this since I was the kind of a stick in the wheel. A party pooper.
All right, thank you.
I want fire generator.
You skipped one.
I did?
Mhm.
Oh, placement of a meter. Okay, sorry, I skipped 152. See, I'm already for this debate tomorrow. This is an ordinance regarding the traffic, removing a parking meter at 303 parking meter number 303 at 303 Fair Street. Was this in public safety, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the issue here is that this is actually the back of a building. And at this point, the front of the building is on Wall Street. So there's no parking for the building there because the building goes right up to the sidewalk. There is a parking place in the back, but there's no curb cut for it. In order to put in the curb cut, which the owner is entitled to, we have to remove this parking meter. So in one sense, we will lose a public parking space. On the other hand, theoretically, the owner will be parking in the space of the building. So to some degree,
Also facilitates delivery, doesn't it? I would think.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So you keep trucks out of the street when they're delivering in the back there. Okay, everybody all right with that? All right, 154, authorizing expenditure of the city of Kingston's annual 24-25 New York State CHIPS grant allocation. Yet again, this is a ministerial piece of legislation. It doesn't cost us any money, but it allows us to make official our acceptance of these monies that we use to do so much of the road work in the city. Because right now, it's not clear that we are accepting the money so that we can put it into our budget appropriately. So again, this is just another thing, making sure we've got a paper trail for the money that comes in so we can follow what goes out. This is not aimed at giving the common council or the mayor greater power over deciding what gets paid and what not. It's just to clarify where the money is coming from and where it's going to. Everybody all right with that then? Okay. I know this is super exciting stuff in the paper, right?
Pavement, everybody loves pavement.
This is actually paperwork. Nobody loves paperwork, I think. Maybe not. All right, 155, this is designating 54 West Chester Street as a locally designated landmark.
This is the same, local designation as the temple. So this is, the building owners took this on themselves. Then, once we establish the local tax credit, if that passes, historic tax credit, they would be eligible.
Great. And then,
What building is this?
whoops,
It's,
54
And where,
it's like down at the bottom, it's like when you're going up the hill, it's on the right, it's the White House. It's not as, one of the larger ones.
Oh. it was interesting, that's the house.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
No, the paperwork, they said they use it as an Airbnb, is that correct? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Well, we can find,
Paperwork. I don't know, not that it matters.
I didn't see that, but you could reach out to, I think, building safety keeps the list of the Airbnb.
I'll check on
Or is
that.
it-
So, sorry, what was the question again?
Whether this building is an Airbnb is used as an Airbnb.
So Bartek has the software that
Yeah.
tracks, he has the list of limits, and he also tracks potential violations. So if there's a question, I would direct it to Bartek.
I would be very interested in that, because if it is used as an Airbnb, but it's not being used properly.
No,
It's not-
it would not matter for
It
the
might,
local
it might
tax
be, it might be
designation.
a permitted Airbnb,
Yeah,
and making it.
Right, that's how I was
Question
saying,
is-
I said no.
It's not.
If you give it the designation, do they get a tax credit if it's an Airbnb? That would be my only
The
question.
question is that would they get a tax credit if it's an
Right.
Airbnb, the building would be eligible.
Okay, so they're good anyway, okay.
it would be if they
So
made
this-
changes, if they like did any upgrades, yeah.
So no big deal for us.
But that's no issue for our.
Right, for the designation, right, that was a curiosity question.
Okay. You know what curiosity is.
I know.
All right, and then local law 11, again, this is first reading of this law, so there will not be any discussion or debate. This is in regard to reestablishing section 360, article 6, exemption for historic properties of the city's administrative code. All right. Pretty clear on the legislation part for tomorrow night. Now, there has been some discussion about height plan, but
I'm sorry, Michelle, is that the one that you had?
Yeah, I called it, so it's not even on here, so.
Oh, so you're okay?
Well, we took a vote, but since I guess it's still supposed to go to, it's a zoning amendment for HLPC that came along last month. Yeah.
The 462.
2 yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was brought to my attention today that before it goes to the planning board, there was notes saying it was supposed to go to the zoning task force. Like the planning-
264?
Yeah,
So 264 was superseded by statute in the 1980s when the council adopted chapter 405 of the code. And then they amended, you guys amended, I mean, it wasn't the same iteration of you guys, but then you guys amended 2 years later with a provision in 405 that specifically said that that 405 new chapter was consolidating other portions of the code because there were little bits of historic and landmark and review definitions sort of scattered about, so they were all consolidated under the old chapter 405. I believe that was November 1989, and then you guys last year adopted an entirely new 405. So for the better part of a year now, I've been sort of talking with planning and HLPC about the fact that as part of our ongoing code cleanup, we should remove these kind of defunct provisions. And so I believe you guys finally spoke with Ethan, sorry about that, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's not, it was voted on. On the rules, and it is not on our legislation list. So Elisa, you there?
Yes.
There was something that came out of laws and rules. I would have listed it on the agenda's revisions to section 405.26L HLPC of the FBC and remove section 264. And it's not on our legislation list. Do we have that resolution ready to go?
No, I spoke with Sue Cahill's office this morning and they said it was not to be on the legislation list.
All right, well, that's not, I mean, that, yeah, I mean, that's not her decision to make. If she doesn't want it on there, I'm sure this council would be willing to table it, but I think it does need to be on council. I mean, we can't get in the habit of getting,
vetoes.
you basically, yeah. Sorry, I'm being a stickler to the rules.
No, I mean, I generally don't do the resolutions from laws and rules, and Janet really handled this, so I don't know the conversations other than this morning when I spoke with Kyla, who confirmed that it wasn't to be on there. But you tell me what you want to do, and of course we'll do it.
It needs to be on our agenda for tomorrow, and I can explain, I'm sure there's no ill intention with anybody, but if it passes through committee, it has to go to council, and it has to be our decision. And then we could discuss right now if we want to table it. And if you want, at least I can reach out to Sue to explain that, so she doesn't think, whatever, I can explain that to her if you would like me to.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yes, please put that on the agenda for whatever that would be, resolution 156.
Sure. I believe that Janet did prepare it and was waiting for, again, I don't know the specifics. I didn't really do anything with it, but I thought they were waiting for the Ulster County Planning Board recommendations. But whatever you need to be done, just let me know.
Okay, yeah, please put it on, and then I will talk to some people tomorrow and figure that out, and we can discuss the plan now. Thank you, Elisa.
Sure.
Yeah, it brought to my attention until after everyone's gone.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just glad we caught it because we can't get in the habit of letting that happen. So, sorry if I seem like spit in the mud, but, I am. So, you guys wanna table it?
We should talk about that.
You and me, or the council?
It's fine.
I think we need to have an attorney-client session then.
Good for me to stand up.
So,
Hold the, wait, sorry.
well, I think somebody needs to let Brian
Yeah, 4:30, I'm like, where you know,
Oh, my God.
So we are gonna go back to the
We have a date on the
264
14th.
issue
I have
briefly.
25 Spanish speaking surveys.
You have them?
I do.
Oh, they took it?
What?
They took them?
No, I have one, but you and I are gonna sit at that table and we're gonna get the 14th.
Okay, just remind me.
I will figure
All
out
right.
the time.
I'm sorry, hold on to that, I'll have that after the meeting.
So we are going to have a resolution 156. It did pass out of laws and rules, so it has to come through the council. So what passed out of laws and rules was the revisions to section 405.26L HLPC of the form-based code and the new section 264. I am suggesting that we amend the resolution so that we still pass the part that says remove section 264. But we table the first section.
Table or send back?
Send it back to committee, thank you.
How can we
Is
do
everybody-
that on one resolution? Or are we amending it and sending it back to?
Yeah, there'll be
Oh,
two,
okay.
yeah, so we would
Motion
make
to amend.
motion to amend, accept that, pass that, and then it's messier than I like. But I think it's the best.
We make an
solution.
amendment to separate the two. Okay, so somebody has to make an amendment. I move to separate the two issues here. And then there would be subsequent to that, then a second amendment in that process to send the one back to committee.
Is that allowable?
Yes,
We have, to- yeah,
as long as you make the motions, as long as you do it in public.
I mean, we did talk about
Wait,
both of
wait.
these pieces and
What's your concern?
That it's one resolution, how could we on the floor break it up into two? And by essentially, we're creating resolution 156 and a 157 that the public is not informed of.
No, they have been informed because we passed it at our last meeting.
but we're just taking, we talked about both pieces of those.
Yeah.
Both pieces of those are on that resolution, so we're just, it's like if we had two stop signs on one resolution, taking them into two. We already had conversations with the public is fully aware, it's just they didn't know the resolution numbers. But honestly, when we're, the committee meetings, they don't know resolution numbers either, but essentially that's the only thing that's changing, is that it's two resolution numbers. That's the only thing that the public doesn't have the information for, that they didn't have from public safety. No, laws and rules.
You all right with that?
It is what it is.
I mean, it's not, I would have liked this to be cleaner, but it, you know, this will get the job done, to the two things that we need to get done.
Okay. So we'll get these resolutions then tomorrow, yes, from Elisa.
I'll,
And then-
I'll do the interior work
Right.
tomorrow, but if I could know who's going to
That's
do
fine.
all of it, do you want to do it, do you want
I'll
to do it?
do the first one, or,
Well, can you,
Yeah.
okay, so I will be, that way I can communicate with just one person. So I'll communicate with you, so that we know exactly what to do, and if you want language, write my
yeah, I'll
language.
just run it back, okay.
Yes, yeah. Then, does anybody have questions on that?
Okay,
And I will also reach out to Sue to explain my why, yeah.
all right, anything else? Here, you have a motion to adjourn
Motion.
this meeting?
Just have one thing, and that's that there are a lot of issues coming up at the planning board in September because it didn't meet in August.
Mhm.
So I will be happy to send around an agenda just so, because they're in a lot of different wards. 4, 7, 8, 9, so there are five public hearings and just new issues coming up. So just in case you're interested.
Okay, two
That's
quick
it.
things.
Be on time tomorrow, so we can start on time, so be ready to go.
Yes.
And then, is everybody okay if I do the moment of silence, because Wednesday is September 11th? Moment of silence?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh, I for September 11th? Anybody objects? Okay. Thank you.
You go. No, just to let you know, I have one remembrance that I'm going to be making, so that'll take.
I have one as well.
Okay.
you know, those things are fun.
Okay, yeah, but just because we're talking about trying to keep the.
Well, I don't think any of the, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have any on the floor debate. Drew?
This is just an invite to September 20th, UPAC Theater, Let's Move for Freedom. It's a bipartisan push to get people out to vote. I'm inviting everyone to UPAC September 20th at 6 p.m. I'll send it out via email as well. And we have the community, it's gonna be performances, it's gonna be voter registration, voter education, and it's gonna be fun. It's fun for the whole family. We have draw there, doing fun for the kids.
that sounds
Yeah,
fun.
it's definitely gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And we're trying to galvanize the base to fun, get out and vote. You know, yeah. Okay.
All right,
Number 20.
motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
You had to be on the-